Hello and welcome to the Wrap Up Live. It is myself, Sahal Abdi, here with Kyle Brickman. We've got Howson-Jan in the background. This is the final game of the regular season. This is your live recap from Raptors Republic. Kyle, this game it's sad that the season's over, but there's more to look forward to after the season, of course, because the Raptors are advancing to the playoffs. This was one of those games where, unfortunately, there wasn't much to really root for because going into the game, there were a couple things at stake for the Raptors in terms of their seeding. If Boston beat, who did they play? Memphis.
Memphis, yeah.
The Raptors would essentially be locked into facing the Sixers because that would move the Sixers to the fourth seed. And Memphis rested everybody. So, I mean, Boston almost had to do it. And Boston didn't rest anyone. So, no Robert Williams for them. But, I mean, it is what it is. And as far as I know, I believe that game is over.
It's practically over either way. They're killing
41 seconds left, down 26. It's over. Memphis is going to lose to Boston, which is going to lock Boston into the third seed and push the 76ers down to the fourth seed, which means we are likely getting a 76ers Raptors playoffs. Now, before we get into that, which we will get into in a bit, a game happened, and it was the New York Knicks, and the Knicks won 105-94. Not a great game for the Raptors, but again, Raptors rested Fred. They rested Pascal. It was really just felt like Gary out there, just kind of by himself, And then there's Chris Boucher, who also had a pretty good game. But can you explain to me how Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin combined for 76 points?
They had a night. I don't know what to say. The frustrating part about the Obi thing is I actually thought Obi had a good night, but I was just looking, I just wanted to check his basketball reference, see, what he's been up to. Yeah. He's older than all the Raptors starters except for Kem Burge. He's old as he was I think he came out as a junior. So this is he had a great night. I know he's a second year player, but nah, that dude is older than OG. He had a good night, but that guy is older than OG. So look, I think disappointing game. I'm not too eager to talk about. We should just quickly go through some of the highlights. Evan Fournier, Raptor killer, always has been, but 2 for 11 tonight.
Nice, so Evan.
That was a win.
Great job.
Quickly and Toppin just couldn't miss. I thought the offense was pretty stagnant. OG didn't have a great night. I know they want to get him back into the rhythm, but I kind of wish he rested tonight along with Pascal
Same.
And Fred. And but this is sort of what Aiden and I were advocating for a week ago, was we should just be resting dudes for these next 3 games. Who cares? And I think it would have ended up with the exact same seeding anyway. So I mean, maybe they should have rested. We'll see. I mean, they have a week until the playoff starts. So we'll see what happens. It was nice to see Adrian Griffin. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, he was the standing head coach today. Nick Nurse, I don't even believe he was on the bench, Kyle. I didn't see him.
No, he was
out there.
So last time he did this, I think it was in the play-in, and he was in the stands, I remember, and he was looking like he had been either drinking, doing something. I remember specifically Nick Nurse, he was out of it in a big way. He was taking the night off. So I'm glad he got the night off. And I'm happy for Adrian Griffin. This is how you put your guys on. This is how you get guys. Sometimes people just need a platform. So good for Adrian Griffin. I don't think he did anything terrible tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian Griffin, I mentioned this before on the show. His son is a very highly touted prospect as well. So, I mean, good things are going on for Adrian Griffin and his son, Adrian Griffin Jr. And Adrian Griffin, when you really think about it, I believe he's one of the guys that's probably going to be in that next wave of head coaches for the league. Sat behind Nick Nurse for a few years now, and one of the best and most consistent teams in the league. They've won a championship together. So this was really big. I don't want us to just fly over that Adrian Griffin thing, because this is a big point for him. I know it's just one game. It's the last game of the season. There's not that much stock put into the last game of the season, but this means a lot, I know, to him and to the rest of the staff as well, because remember, Kyle, Earl Watson is a former head coach too. So It's big for Nick Nurse to go, you know what, I'm going to go with Adrian in this last game over Earl. And that just probably has to do with seniority more than anything, right? Because Earl just joined the season.
Yeah, this is what good organizations do. Pop has done it for Becky Hammond. I think he did it for Ime Udoka, who's in Boston now. And I actually wish they would do this more often. It's the racial makeup of the NBA doesn't match the coaching. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Like there are like more white coaches than there are black coaches, and like sometimes guys just need a platform. Like Adrian Griffin just needs the opportunity to show himself. I'm just happy that the Raptors this is the kind of organization that give guys platforms. Let Adrian coach, because they lost tonight. I thought Adrian actually had a pretty good night. He's much more calm than Nick Nurse, which is fun.
Yeah.
Like he's got to work on maybe his facial expressions. He's not going to get like. He's not going to go viral for those facial expressions. So maybe Nick can have a little summer boot camp about like how to look completely exhausted on the sideline. But otherwise, I thought Adrian had a great night.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. And you know what? The funnest, is that a word? Funnest? The most fun part of the game was just the quirkiness of it all, the strangeness of the lineups. Jericho Sims of the Knicks, a lot of people don't know who he is. Young center. He played 30 minutes in this game. The Knicks barely had anybody active in this game. I believe midway through the third quarter. Was it Mike Breen? One of their commentators mentioned how Taj Gibson just wasn't on the bench anymore, and all they had was, I got to read this name correctly because I'm not sure who this is. Ferron Hunt. I've never heard of that guy in my life. Wow. And I've heard of Ryan Arcidiacono. Why is it always Arcidiacono?
The good rule. Okay,
thanks, Chris, for also laughing at me in the background.
I forgot my mic was on. Whoops.
Appreciate you, man. It's all right. Everyone laughs at me with these names. It's okay.
I think a good rule with the player is that like if he was on the Pirtle and people are like on the timeline complaining, he can't be good. Like I'm telling you right now, if Ferron Hunt was the player in Pirtle, I'd be getting upset on the timeline. So they were not playing there. Yeah. There was not the Knicks A team. Although I do think in general, I don't know why the Knicks aren't just going full youth movement. Like what's Julius Randle doing there? I think RJ should just get like 30 shots a game. And clearly, like him quickly and Obi are the future of this team. But it's not a Knicks podcast. As Zarar would say, not a Knicks podcast.
Not a Knicks podcast, yeah. I was going to mention about how Leon Rose said for them that prior to last season, he was going to have a very pragmatic approach into how he approaches the roster building strategy for the Knicks. And they had a very good year last year. And this year, it seems like it just all fell apart. And I thought the Raptors would just walk into this game. Doesn't matter who they sat. I mean, it would just be one of those. But, when you play those really bad basketball teams, they just seem to always have it on that last game where it just means nothing. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to the Knicks. They played really well. And it's always
they were celebrating Obi's 40 like he just put up – it was like a world-style celebration. Like he took the ball after the game. It was like kind of sad to see.
It was like the Devin Booker depressing. 70. Remember that one?
Yeah, 70 and a loss.
Yeah, you got to love it. Yeah, this was good for the Knicks, I guess, 11th seed. But for the Raptors, I mean, did this result really matter in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. Of course, you want to gather the most momentum possible, but at the end of the day, I mean, if you're gathering momentum with the bench guys and they're not even really going to be there in the playoffs for you in the rotation, I mean, it is what it is, right? This was I was going to say Nick Nurse's opportunity. This was Adrian Griffin's opportunity to, I guess for OG, it was different for every player. For OG, it was more like a scrimmage run where he was like, go out there, get some shots up, get your cardio up, get all that. Just feel good on the court. He went 3 for 9. I would have liked to see OG maybe shoot a little bit more. I didn't want his usage way up, but 9 shots is not something I probably would have liked. I would have liked to just see OG just throw up every shot he could. But you can't really do that when Gary Trent is on the court with you and he goes, he shoots 17 shots in 30 minutes, 31 minutes. Malachi Flynn played quite a bit. He didn't shoot very well, but I mean, I can't really blame any of the bench guys, Kyle, because they just rarely play. So when they come in and they're missing shots, it's almost like, they didn't have a rhythm anyway. So you just shrug it off. Svi, people in the comments were mentioning Svi earlier. He played today, which was cool. I don't remember what Svi played like. I don't even mean that as an insult.
In 8 minutes, he was
in 8 minutes.
I just want to point this out now that we have the box score up. Okay, while we're talking about bench players, and I think it's time to just do the taxman and get out of the way because we both I feel like at this point we should
can't do this any longer. I'm being tortured. Yeah.
But Thad plus 16 randomly, like the next highest Raptor was a +1. That was Malachi Flynn. I don't know. Crazy Thad night, I guess. I thought he played well.
Yeah.
It probably deserves a tax man 2 for 3 from the field. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here? I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely have no clue how he pulled off a plus 16 in a game like this. I guess the other guy that sticks out is Utah with a minus 16, but is that really like a Utah problem? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna just get Taxman out of the way as quickly as possible. I was gonna give Taxman, it was kind of like a reverse Taxman to RJ Barrett. He didn't play, but he had an absolutely horrific outfit on, and that guy's Canadian, and I love RJ Barrett, but whatever that was he was wearing today, did not enjoy it, did not like it. It was like a brown kind of cardigan.
We'll get Chris on the case. This
black
is like
shirt.
that type of hard hitting stuff that we need Chris for around.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if Chris can somehow, some way. No, we're not going to put pressure on him like that. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it, so I wanted to do like a reverse. Maybe we'll start that next year for wrap up. We'll do like a reverse Taxman and just kind of throw some slander in there for some players. But yeah, we'll give Taxman to that plus 16, 5 points. I just don't know how he did it. 3 rebounds, 4 assists. I don't know how you're a plus 16 in a game when you lose by 11 and you're only on the floor for 20 minutes. So sure, Taxman will go to. There it is. How did you get that? That is crazy, Chris. Round of applause for Chris. I do not know how we got. I just don't know. Yeah, guys, what do you think about that outfit? It's the last game, guys. We can talk about whatever. There's no restrictions. Zarar's going to come in here in a bit. He's going to tell us to talk about the games. Guess what, Zarar? It's the last game, so we're doing what we want. What do you guys think about that outfit? Because I'm sorry, I hate it.
I could do without the shirt. My friends and I always joke that like the Burberry shirt is like the classic birthday shirt. Like every man on his birthday is like wearing the Burberry shirt out. So like maybe we got to figure out maybe it's RJ's birthday, like the Burberry
could be
t-shirt. Who knows? Yeah, but are we doing tax, man? Okay.
Looks like he just walked out of Uniqlo.
Like, Vijay Verma, all your tax services. Like, listen, if you get your return and you're pulling up with a fit like this with the return, I'm sorry, you're ineligible for his tax services next year. You got to use you're going to get a big rebate. You're going to get a huge refund on your taxes. But if you're spending it on a fit like this, I don't know. I think you're not worthy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It is tax season. Numbers on the top of the screen, and worth looking into. So do it, within the next 20 days.
Yeah, 416-243-2912, guys. VJ Verma, or you can go on canamtax.com. Like Kyle said, do not spend your tax check on an outfit like this, please. Burberry Alien, whatever that is. It looks like he walked into an H&M blindfolded and was just like, okay, I'll take that, and that. And then he's like, went home, saw the number 9 chain, resting in its beautiful little capsule, grabs it out and is like, this is going to be the perfect compliment. It's a nice chain.
Why do you have the mic? I guess you must have been talking to the crowd. Like, why do you have the mic?
Hey, anyway, guys, let's get into this. This is RJ Barrett. It's the last game of the year. We absolutely sucked this year. Enjoy it. All the suits and the lower bowl, because you guys can't afford lower bowl tickets down here. So the suits, enjoy it. Everybody else up there that's an actual Knicks fan, enjoy it. And hopefully, Julius Randle isn't back next year. That's my guess. What he said.
Hey guys, I'm sorry we had 37 wins. We're getting to 45. Randall's off the team. Okay. Okay, let's get into it. This is Zarar subtly telling us to get into it. The Sixers. It's basically locked up. It has actually officially locked up. The Raptors will play the 76ers in the first round. We just saw them play the 76ers. Embiid struggles historically against Toronto in the playoffs, although it's a very different 76ers team. Embiid did have that series against the Raptors, the Kawhi-led Raptors, in which ended in him basically walking off the floor in tears. Ben Simmons is off the team. It's completely different. James Harden looks a little bit old, but what are your general impressions? And guys, we are going to be doing like a bigger, more focused preview show at some point this upcoming week, because we do have a week until the playoffs don't start, I believe, until the 16th because of the play-in. So we got plenty of time to think about this, but just your initial thoughts, I guess.
I guess the common prediction for a Sixers Raptors series for Raptors fans is the Raptors in 6, which is almost saying in a way that this is going to be a competitive series, but the Raptors are clearly the better team or have the advantage. In this case, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I know the Raptors play very well against the Sixers. I do know Embiid has been, um, I do know Embiid has been, shooting 36%, I believe is the number since 2019-20, which is crazy. 3 full seasons and Embiid's shooting 36% from the field against a Nick Nurse led team in the Raptors. So those numbers all favor Toronto. James Harden has struggled, not just versus Toronto in these last 10 to 15 games, but just versus everyone. His explosion isn't there. I've read a million think pieces and articles about James Harden and how he's not finishing at the rim like he used to, and it is what it is. And this was a tweet. Actually, it was funny because I responded to this guy earlier today.
Oh, that's great.
And I believe the tweet says, "Hold up,
is that real? I gotta check this out. Are you serious?"
Yeah, so he said because it was the original tweet was me talking about Daniel Tice because I was essentially saying Daniel Tice plays like Bam Adebayo when he chooses to face the Raptors conveniently. For the Raptors, Tice is just one of those Raptor killers, and he responded with, "Hold up, y'all worried about Tice, but Embiid might average 40 and 10 against y'all because remember, original tweet referred to a Celtics Raptors hypothetical scenario, and I responded with this. So yeah.
And you did it to your fellow Somali as well.
Somali
you really
brother,
got
exactly.
It. Like, if that is
I
true,
don't pull punches.
If that's true, that is a ridiculous stat. That's shocking. I know he gets a doubled probably more aggressively than against any other team.
Yeah.
He mentioned on the Zach Lowe podcast when he did it a year ago, like Nick Nurse and Toronto are the team that gives me the most difficulty because they're the ones willing to double the most aggressively, and I can't see that changing. You're good. You're smart. I was going to mention the James Harden finishing issue. He's amongst at his clip. I think he's the second worst finisher at the rim in the NBA, which is really concerning. And part of that is that his first step is a little bit gone, so he's having he has way less space. And to be honest, Harden's never been a guy who's gonna get above the rim and attack you, maybe in 2012 or something, but he's always relied on more of a sort of craftier skill type of finishing, the little floaters, the switch layups, etc. And honestly, those are still around. He just isn't getting as much separation to get those off, and it's not like he's the type of person who's just going to go over a shot blocker and dunk on him. And this could be famous last words. Maybe he turns it around in this playoff series, but I just don't see it. He still doesn't look like he's in great shape. His mobility is different. I watched a lot of James Harden, partially because I was not necessarily maybe not a fan of his game, but I was just those Rockets teams were important for a long time. And he doesn't look like the same guy at all.
Yeah, he doesn't. What caught my ear was when you mentioned what Joel Embiid said about the Raptors way back when. You said it was the Zach Lowe podcast, I believe it was, or was it the Winehorse podcast? I think it was Zach Lowe.
He might have done both. I think he had a little. They do these late season media tours for their awards things. So I know this year Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing his DPOY tour. I think last year Embiid was trying to do his MVP tour. So he was probably everywhere last year.
Yeah. This is Kate. If you guys know, Kate is a pretty, I'd say, prominent part of Raptors Twitter. You've probably seen her tweets around. And this tweet goes way back. I believe it's April of 2021. And Embiid said, other teams, they will just come and double just to make me think about it. I find another way to attack, just back out of it. Most guys, as soon as you back out of it, they tend to just go back to their man and leave the double. When they do that, I go right back. And that's what we've seen. That's what we saw this season as well. Remember, this was said by Embiid prior to this season. So we've seen him, the Raptors double, the ball comes out. They release from the double, the ball goes back in. And it's just back and forth until Embiid either puts up the shot. But the thing about that is it disrupts his rhythm. And I think that is what Nick Nurse wants to do more than anything. If you give it to Embiid down low, whether it's 18 feet from the rim, 10 feet from the rim, he's going to find a way to put it in the basket. He's so gifted. Yeah, you can see at the bottom of the tweet it says April 16th, 2021. So this was prior to this season. This was right around playoff time last year. And Kate also tweeted, basically, Embiid is saying Toronto is the only team with the discipline to make him pass out of the triple team before they back out of the triple. Other defenders don't have the discipline and will back out of the double when it looks like Embiid has backed off attack. Yeah, I think that like what I said was essentially exactly what Nick Nurse, Adrian Griffin, the entire defensive staff wants to do to Embiid. It's not about necessarily getting the ball out of his hands in terms of denying him the ball before it gets there or anything like that. It's, the ball's going to end up in his hands one way or another. Doc Rivers, I know a lot of people consider him, a little bit of an overrated coach or whatever it is. I've heard that nonstop throughout this NBA season, especially because sometimes the 76ers have faltered against some of the better teams in the league. They haven't played well against the Raptors this season. And one thing is when you don't play well against a team, Kyle, usually you play that team a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, and you expect to see different results. And it feels like Doc Rivers just cannot find out what the Raptors are doing. He does not have a solution for what Nick Nurse is drawing up for Embiid. And that might be frustrating for Joel. It really might be. So this is another tweet. This was obviously sooner. So this is this year. This is today at 9:30 p.m., just 15 minutes ago. Austin Krell tweeted, Doc Rivers on Paul Reed potentially getting the backup center minutes in the playoffs. Doc Rivers says, we're not going on a Paul Reed victory tour. We're trying to win a world championship. Man. Neither do I, Kyle. What do you think about Paul Reed, by the way, and just this rotation?
Okay, I got 1 second, Chris, because I'm going to show you a tweet. We'll post it. I think that he's better than DeAndre Jordan. I saw a clip of DeAndre Jordan's effort tonight. It's disgusting. He barely tries it.
Kyle, so I believe DeAndre Jordan is. I think he's the worst player in the NBA. That's and then you can. I yeah, I genuinely. That's my genuine opinion of DeAndre Jordan. I don't think he should be.
They're going to be forced into playing Paul Reed, and they're going to be forced into playing him like not insignificant minutes. Even 10 minutes a game of Paul Reed, no Embiid on the floor, and that's assuming that Embiid plays 38 minutes. That's going to be ugly for the Sixers, really ugly. And Embiid, he's a terrific athlete, but he's a big, strong guy, and I don't think he's as well conditioned as, like Pascal Siakam has like a soccer player's build. He looks like he can run for 40 minutes, and I think he's basically running for almost 40 minutes every single game because Nick plays these guys like crazy. But Embiid doesn't have that sort of build. I don't think he can last. I don't think he can casually play 44 minutes in a playoff game and have his level of play be sustained for that long. I think we should mention Thibault, because Thibault will not be playing in the games in Toronto.
Yes.
He's a terrific defender. I guess he trusts his defense so much that he trusts his body's natural defense over taking the shot, and he won't be eligible. Nice. He will not be. He trusts his defense maybe a little bit too much, and he won't be let in the country or able to work in the country. I'm not sure the specifics. Either way, he won't be playing. So, to me, the loss isn't as great as some people make it out to be. I actually don't think Thibault, although he's a super impactful defender, he's a non-threat offensively, and the Sixers are better to basically have shooters out there with Embiid, because Embiid's going to be double and triple team. There's going to be open guys. You need those open guys to be able to shoot. I mean, listen, I could be open out there. I'm not hitting the shot. You need dudes who are shooters out there if they're open. And the last time the Sixers played the Raptors, they had Shake Milton shooting 50% from three. Like, they had guys out there playing in the Thibault role, shooting the lights out, and I actually think that's probably better for them, because they need guys who can hit wide open threes.
And I think, you know what, Kyle, I think that's been the most interesting, I want to say, part of this whole playoff thing for Toronto. You get matched up hypothetically against the Celtics. Jaylen Brown can't play. Al Horford can't play.
Is that confirmed? Is Jaylen Brown confirmed?
I don't know if he's confirmed, but he hasn't played the last two in Toronto. And Horford, I'm 99% sure was confirmed, actually. Yeah, by a Celtics reporter. So, and then obviously with the Philly series, I should say, which is now the realistic playoff scenario, you're not going to have Matisse Thybulle. So, Yeah, it's difficult. You called him one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. I think he's just up there, and I don't think anyone's crazy for saying Thibault is the best perimeter defender in the league. He is a terror on the outside. He really is. And he is so good, Tony Allen like, where he can give you nothing offensively and you'll still want him on the court, on the perimeter. It's just the turnovers he causes, the chaos he causes. The Raptors aren't going to see it. So, I mean, that's a big part of the Philly rotation, especially Kyle, because their rotation was shortened since the Harden trade. Drummond's gone, right? Seth Curry's gone. And those are two big guys for their rotation. Yes, you're getting Harden back, but losing Drummond is big. And going back to that Paul Reed tweet about the backup center minutes, this is why Philadelphia, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to these Doc Rivers press conferences lately, but this question just keeps coming up. And I think this response to it more than anything was Doc saying enough with the Paul Reed questions.
Yeah,
enough.
Embiid's playing a ridiculous amount of minutes, and we're not seeing Paul Reed. And I do think this is sort of Doc, because I actually think that some of the decisions Doc makes, especially rotation wise, are kind of weak. But this is all credit to Doc. This is what makes him a great coach. This is such an interesting way to basically be like, Paul Reed is ass and we can't play him. He's like, that's such a cool way of putting it. Like he's not like putting Paul Reed down. He's just sort of letting people know, like, no, Paul Reed it's not a Paul Reed championship tour. Like, it's a Joel Embiid thing. So yeah, that's why he's the president of the coaching association. He's a great coach, but I think Nurse is Nurse is a better coach.
Yeah, you don't have to mince words.
A couple 3-1 leads. He likes to rotate guys in a weird way. We'll get into this more because I need to think of more specific examples. But those Embiid-less minutes where Harden is running the offense, it's they got to figure out a way to make those work for them. And I actually don't know what their plan is, because as of right now, I think that the Raptors are being like spotted 12 points for those 12 minutes that Paul Reed is playing. Like, I think they're winning those minutes pretty handedly.
Yeah.
No matter who's on the floor.
It's going to be difficult for Embiid, not just because Nick Nurse is standing on the other side, but simply because this might be a series, Kyle, where he has to go 45 minutes. I'm not even exaggerating. We're going to see games where Embiid's 42, 43, 45. I wouldn't be surprised if there's full games where he gets 3, 4, 5 minutes of rest for the entire game. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a fun series. I think a lot of Raptors fans wanted Philly. I personally wanted Philly. Kyle, I'm pretty sure you did as well, just because of how the matchups go along with Philly. And the two key guys for Philly in Harden and Embiid. The Raptors know how to make life difficult for both of them. They can just throw OG, Scotty, all these long-winged defenders on them. And it's going to be hell. It really is for Embiid. And it sucks because Embiid's 7 feet tall. And you would think that for him, this would be a joyride facing a team full of 6'9" guys who cannot stand and, anywhere as tall as him. It's not, basketball's not that simple. I mean, if it was, Embiid, like that guy said in the tweet, would be averaging 40 and 10. And he is not. So we'll see. I do not think, though, Kyle, before, because I do know we're going to do a preview of this series as well. I do not think that this is going to be as easy as people think. I do not think that the series is going to go to 6. It may. I would not be shocked, but my personal opinion is that I think it's going to go to 7, and we're going to see. I think it's going to be a very, very tough series. This is not going to be, just a pushover team. Philadelphia won a lot of games this year. They have very good players, and I'm not doubting. I know a lot of people want me to, but I'm not doubting James Harden just yet. Like, I'm not there just yet. I think James Harden can still turn it on, and you still see flashes of that superstar in him. You don't see it as consistently as maybe you saw it in Brooklyn earlier in the season when he was essentially just playing by himself. And Kyrie wasn't there and KD wasn't there. But I think, I'm giving this team a little bit of leeway, this Philadelphia team, because a lot of Raptors fans, I get it. The confidence is there even right now. You could switch over. I mean, I hope you guys don't close the tab, but switch over to Twitter really quickly. And you'll see Raptors fans are essentially celebrating that they got Philly. And you should be, in a way, because the Celtics would not be fun and the Bucks would not be fun. but just temper it, I guess you could say. Temper the expectations. It's totally fine to expect a Raptors series win. That is natural. That is the natural nature of fans. But I think Philadelphia is a much better team than people are giving them credit for. And yeah, I don't want to say, people, because people are going to go with the whole Sahal's pessimistic all over again. If I say I wouldn't be shocked if Philly won the series, but I really wouldn't. So,
Look,
but it's going to be fun. It's going to be
what
really
else?
fun.
A lot is being made of like Harden being washed up, but you got to understand, like, he's washed up in comparison to the guy he was in 2018. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. Look,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the last game he played against Toronto, which everyone was hailing as basically like a disappointment. He had a terrible game. Dude had 13 points, 15 assists. Like, if a Raptor, look, if Malachi Flynn came out and had a 15 assist game, we would still be talking about it. We might have a whole podcast on it tonight, still talking about it. So, it's not like he's completely, his career is over. He's just not the guy he used to be. And that's frustrating if you're a Sixers fan because you gave up a lot of depth for him. While we're on depth, Chris, can you roll the clip I sent? So this is why we're making such a big point of the depth. Because these are the guys backing up Joel Embiid. Look at DeAndre Jordan. I believe he's the guy in the paint right now.
There he is. Yeah.
Look at his effort on this possession. He's the center.
Horrific.
You're the one grabbing these rebounds. Look at that. It's unbelievable.
Terrible.
Let it run one more time. Look at this. Look at how little he competes for that rebound. I get that it's like
that guy
the
is
end of the season,
scrub.
the game doesn't matter, but like that is like some of the lowest effort I've ever seen from an NBA
guy back to Staples or whatever you call it, crypto.com arena. Send him to Steve Ballmer or send him, I don't know, just send him somewhere else.
Here we go.
Terrible.
I did want to address this. Thibault is an average player in general because his offense is so limited. But man, if you watch some of the games, like Thibault as a peak defender is a top, 5'10" perimeter defender in the NBA easily. The way he navigates screens, especially off the ball, the way he gets around screens is I'm not saying this lately, and it's not like I've got some personal it's not like I love Thibault, but I just love the way he plays defense. I think that he navigates screens maybe better than I've ever seen anyone play basketball. And I know that's a big statement, but the way he gets around screens is better than any defender I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's a terrific defender, top tier.
He's a very fluid athlete too, and I think that's what you need more than anything to navigate around those screens. A lot of times people say Thibault's a guy who brings absolutely nothing offensively. I don't know about that. Like, he's good in transition. His 3-point shot isn't great, but it's also like they're not telling him to shoot it. I mean, he's 32% from his career. And as a comparison, Chris Boucher's 33% from his career. And if Chris Boucher's wide open from three, I'm sure 99.9% of Raptors fans would be like, I'm okay with Chris shooting that. So Sixers fans probably feel the same way with Thibault when he's open. And when you have Embiid and Harden on your team, you're going to get those shots. So we're not going to big up Thibault like he's some massive all-star player, but when the rotations shorten in the playoffs and you already have a shortened rotation generated from the trade that you got, completed with Harden and who am I thinking of? Harden and Ben Simmons. Whoa, yeah, I don't know why it took me that long to think of Ben Simmons. The Harden and Ben Simmons trade. Yeah, the Harden and Ben Simmons trade. I just think it's one of those things where Thibault makes a lot of sense for the 76ers in terms of a guy that they'd want on the court as much as possible. There's no, like I said, Joel Embiid's going to play so much. Paul Reed's not going to touch the floor as often as people think. Maxi's a guy that's been playing really, really well since the All-Star break for the Sixers. He's going to play a whole lot. You're probably going to see 6 to 8 guys on the court for the Sixers. Korkmaz is going to play a little bit. But I think Thibault, he's huge. He's huge for what this team wants to do defensively. So it's going to suck for the Sixers. Chris in the background, our producer, is saying that maybe we should talk about some of the regular season stuff that's happened this season.
I was going to propose we do that like in the next podcast. Mike Kamina said earlier, season-ending rap awards, and I love this idea so much that I want to dedicate like actual time to it, and I want to like put it in our little group chat and figure out give people a lot of time to think about it, because this is actually one of the best ideas I've ever seen, Mike. That's it. I respect it too much to just like freestyle it right now.
We might have to give Mike a percentage.
We might have to give Mike a
I
percentage.
think that's what we got to do.
So I think the next sort of step here is like, I guess, Tobias Harris. Like, who's their next best defender? Because like with Thibault out, where the hell are the Sixers going on Pascal? Like, I don't think they have options. Harris is listen. He's a good offensive player. He's on a massive contract, and he can't defend. If we're being completely
Huge
honest,
contract.
and it's not like it's like easy to defend Pascal Siakam, but Tobias Harris cannot hang with him. Danny Green is too small. Shake Milton is definitely too small. So I just like, who's the primary matchup on Pascal? Embiid? Do they like what are they even planning on doing?
Yeah. I have no clue, and this is the thing with Philly. This is where it just wow. Sean, I hope you're not lying, because has he watched the Raptors this year?
No, Shaq is just pro center. You can't like he's just pro center. Like he sees like the Raptors and sees they don't have a center, and that's like a sweep to him. So I wouldn't worry about what Shaq
he might have to exactly. Sean, I think you're right. He might have to be on Shaqtin' a Fool himself after that prediction. This is these are, you guys are in the comments going crazy about Thibault. Oh my goodness, Matisse. Kyle, the Raptors now sit fifth. Philly sits fourth. There's going to be 4 games in Philly, 3 games in Toronto. Without giving away too much of what we're going to be talking about in our preview for the series, what do you think is probably the most important thing offensively for the Raptors and defensively for the Raptors?
Okay. Defensively is you need to like, because clearly the double and triple teams they send at Embiid work. That's the strategy you're going to employ. The crucial part is like, if you are not part of that double or triple team and you're basically playing 2 on the backside of a play, you're stuck between 2 shooters, like on a corner and a wing, you got to be so good at closing out. You have to be like it's such a terrific defender in space, and that's part of the reason the Raptors have all these long guys, because it's like it's easier to play 2 when you're 6'7" instead of whatever 6 foot tall at 5'11" type thing. So we'll see how it works. I think this is the strategy. This is why this team is built the way it is. It's like you have a bunch of long guys that can play in space defensively and eat up a lot of space. Yeah. So we'll see. On the offensive end, to me, it's like hit your shots and get out of Pascal's way. And we've been doing a lot of like flip-flopping. Like I feel like the Raptors are really reluctant to get into an offense that is heliocentric around the guy who has it going. And to me, Pascal, especially in that last Sixers game, but just in general over this 2-month stretch, has it going more than like, maybe any other player in the NBA, barring whatever. There's like the 5-6 guys, the usual suspects, but Pascal's like a top 10, 15 guy as of right now. So just like give the ball up and get out of the way. I don't want to see like a million Fred possessions. I don't want to see like like a Precious Achua isolations. Man, I'm just trying to see Pascal cook. I think that's the key to victory to me.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really good point. I'm kind of worried with what Doc Rivers not necessarily has in store for Pascal, but I just feel like he's going to get maybe a lot more different looks. I wouldn't be surprised on a lot of possessions to see maybe Joel Embiid on Pascal and just sagging off him, because let's be fair, Joel's going to blow past Pascal a lot of times, but this isn't the Pascal of a couple of years ago where it felt like almost every Raptors fan was hopping off the bandwagon and was throwing him in hypothetical trades. This is a brand new Pascal, or a Pascal really that we've seen before that feels brand new, because again, a lot of people left that wagon a while ago, and now Pascal is probably on his way to an All-NBA berth, or an All-NBA selection, I should say. And I'm at the point where I genuinely feel like there is a real and genuine pathway for the Raptors to get to the Eastern Conference Finals now as the 5th seed, because now you're facing the winner of the 1-8, who, Kyle, I believe is going to be Miami and Cleveland.
Yeah,
It depends
that'll be
obviously
it.
what happens with the play-in, right? But and by the way, I think the 9-10 might just beat, because I'm expecting Brooklyn to beat Cleveland. I think the 9-10 might beat Cleveland. Like that, those are like
Yeah,
Charlotte and Atlanta are good teams. Atlanta
yeah.
finished the season very strong. So I wouldn't be surprised for the 7-8 to finish off being Nets and Hawks or Nets and Hornets. No disrespect at all to the Cavs. They've had a great season, but the
Yes, it
pathway
does.
looks good for the Raptors. The
Maxwell,
pathway looks good. Yeah.
cook includes distribution. To me, like
Yeah.
letting someone cook means like getting out of his way and letting him figure out the offense. It doesn't mean necessarily like pulling a bunch of shots. It means like handing over the keys to the offense to Pascal Siakam. And it's like people are reluctant to hand over the keys, but he's not. This isn't like a 16-year-old who just passes. I was like, he's an experienced driver. He deserves the keys to the offense. This is how basketball works.
There, just over LeBron. So it's going to be fun. And if the Raptors, like I said, can get past Philadelphia, man, oh man, you're looking at Miami and let's say hypothetically Brooklyn. Oh, sorry, Miami and then versus Cleveland or Atlanta. You're expecting Miami to win against Cleveland, Atlanta, or Charlotte. So you're looking at Raptors, Miami in the second round. And I mean, after that, Kyle, I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
This is ideal. This is completely ideal for the Raptors. I think the two best realistic matchups they could have had, they have. They're saying that the stream's lagging. If it is, I'm sorry. There's literally nothing we can do on our end. Like we can't open up the back of this. Like I can talk to Jeff Bezos and like Amazon Web Services and try to get them to like speed it up. But there's almost nothing I can do. So if it's lagging, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
like, you just have to deal with it. I'm ready to go. I think there's no schedule to look at, but we should check out, like, in general, just 30,000 foot view. What were your expectations of the Raptors coming into this season, and how do you think they did they meet them? Did they exceed them? Because to me, I would say I'm pleasantly surprised by this result. 5 seed. They're the 5 seed, right? They're
5
or the
seed,
6 seed, whatever, making like out of the play-in.
yeah.
Good season for Pascal, great season for Scotty. But you know what? I think if you asked me this time in September, I probably would have bet that they were like a 5 or 6 seed. I think that a lot of the progress we've seen, we were sort of like hyping up because there was a moment in which it looked so grim for this Raptors team. But at the end of the season, to me, I'm not gonna go. You can zag on this if you want, but I'm not gonna say this is like they're exceeding expectations ridiculously. I believe in this Raptors team. I kind of always have, and I think this is where I would have guessed they ended up. No?
Yeah, I said in the first, I don't remember if it was the first show we did this season. It was one of the first 3 or 4 shows we did this season. I said that the best possible scenario for the Raptors is a 3rd or 4th seed, and I think I stuck to 4th. I think I said 4th was their best possible scenario, and when you take into account health, everything, because remember in that time, I believe Ben Simmons, he's obviously still in Philadelphia, but in that time, it didn't look like he was going to play. And there were so many things, I think, at stake for a lot of Eastern Conference teams that you just didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of trades being rumored early in the season. So you just didn't know. And then, in my opinion, I said 4th was the best. And I'm not afraid of saying that. Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys in the comments did not, believe. It's okay if you believe the Raptors are going to be a play-in team or the 6th seed or whatever it was, or maybe not even a playoff team. I had a lot of my close friends were like, yo, man, I don't know if the Raptors are going to make it this year. Like, the East is super tough. Charlotte's going to be better. Atlanta's really good. They made a run last season in the playoffs. There's no way Milwaukee's not going to be good. They're going to be at the top. Miami, they added Kyle this year. They're going to be great. The East was very good. And then obviously Chicago with adding Lonzo and DeMar to Zach LaVine and the really good core that was already there. There was up-and-coming teams, and the Raptors, I think, weathered a lot of storms this season, which was cool to see. And they finished off as a 5th seed. And I mean, this is as good as I thought it was going to get for the Raptors. They almost got the 4th seed, Kyle. Like, it's not like it was the 5th seed and Philly was 5-6 games ahead of them. They almost got the 4th seed. They almost got home court advantage in a season where OG missed time, Fred missed time, Pascal missed the first portion of the season. They were relying on Scotty Barnes. They had the worst bench in the league. Just a lot of, I mean, it wasn't as bad as the bubble, Kyle, but there was a lot of things going on for the Raptors this season that they couldn't really foresee, right? So this is huge. This is huge. The 5 seed is a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment for Toronto.
Phoenix, I do want to say, like, that's the thing. Like, our expectations were changing based on the game. Like, man, you should have seen, if you go back and look at like the game we lost to Orlando immediately after losing to Detroit, just the faces on that podcast, guys, like, it's grim. It was grim. People were sad. So I'm not denying that. I probably at one point said that they were like a 500, like a play-in team if they had a bad loss. We're making predictions every single day. I mean, that was how I was feeling at the time. But I guess my point was, like, prior to the season starting at all, prior to any wrap-ups, prior to, like, just sort of like summer league type thing, I thought they were a 5 or 6 seed. They ended up being a 5 or 6 seed, and it was an interesting journey to get there. I think someone mentioned, had we had just beaten Orlando and Detroit, we're a 4 seed. The Raptors are a 4 seed. Had they not had like such a odd stretch, in that like November, December range, such a weird little stretch of games where they basically didn't have anything figured out. It was really awkward. Like, this team took a while to gel, but I mean, here we are. Like, they're gelling, and they're gelling at the exact right time.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, everyone's healthy now. OG, like I said, came out for a scrimmage run essentially tonight in a game that didn't really have much value for Toronto other than get your shots up, get some cardio up, and let's see what we have in the bench. I mean, we didn't really get a chance that much, I'd say, this season to really utilize the bench, because the bench, let's face it, was not great in the time that they were used on the court this season. And this was Nick Nurse's chance, or Adrian Griffin, I should say, or both of them, really, I should say, their chance to just be like, you know what, guys, play basketball, have fun out there. It is what it is. Of course, you play to win, but I mean, it is what it is. So this was really cool. This is part of the article from the Toronto Star, Doug Smith, to be exact, where he says the 5th place finish might have surprised a few experts, but not Nurse. And this is the coolest part, because if you guys read this quote, Nick Nurse and the confidence, you could call it arrogance, whatever. I think it's just confidence in his own team. Nick Nurse says, I was expecting to be sitting here. When we started the season and everyone picked us 11th in the East, I was like, no way. This is a playoff team. This is a playoff team. We're not that bad. We're a playoff team. I put those expectations on the mall and the coaching staff, and here we are. That's good. I expected to be a playoff team. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are with you, Nick, and truthfully, a lot of people aren't, and that's okay. That's okay for Raptors fans. It is what it is. It's a fun time for me, Kyle, specifically, particularly, to be a sports fan, because as you know, these guys, where's the logo? These guys right here, Tottenham. To all the Arsenal fans watching, Champions League is not in your future. I just want to put that out there. And I really hope Zarar's watching right now, because
Come
Arsenal
on, bro. Brighton
is
are a big club. Brighton are a big club. Come on. That's a big...
Please stop.
Yeah, we're going to do the preview and end of season awards sometime next week, when we can, find the time to get all 4 guys
for
on.
Sure.
The we should call it quadrilateral. I don't think that's the right expression. We'll also figure out the right expression. But
yes,
until then, I think just our spirits could have been a little bit higher with a win here. I think it would have been a bit better way to send the season off. But like, who cares? This is a win. This is like this whole season already to me. Even if they get swept by the Sixers, this is a win to me. This is supposed to be a development year. This is a win to me. I'm happy.
Yeah. And like I said, guys, we're not done with the wrap up live this season. We were done this time last season, because as you guys remember, we were coming off a very rough year. But guess what? I mean, time has flew, and that year turned into Scotty Barnes. And here we are, guys. The Raptors are back. They're back in the playoffs. All it took was one bad year that we just shrugged off like it was nothing. I mean, that year didn't even really exist because of, COVID and all this stuff that's happened in the last year. No one remembers that year. Like I said, Scotty Barnes, the core is well alive and just doing great. I love it. I love Gary Trent Jr. in this core that the Raptors have, very young, but also a very good veteran blend there. Thaddeus Young has now joined the rotation. I am looking forward to the playoffs, guys. I cannot wait to hear Scotiabank Arena going crazy in that first home game. It's going to be insane. I hope a lot of you guys watching have tickets as well. It's going to be fun. If you're there, I mean, let us know if you can make the game. It's going to be fun. Kyle, we're going to be back. I believe myself, Kyle, Aiden, and hopefully we can get Oren on as well for next week with Chris or Don producing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this entire regular season with us. I'm going to name some names really quick because, like I said, we're not done. We're going to be here after the playoff games as well. But we really want to thank the people who've constantly been here. Buster, Phoenix, Mike,
Brian.
There has been, there's been
Guru.
Matt has been here.
There's literally hundreds of them. So if you don't get mentioned, there are hundreds of you guys. If you don't get mentioned, I'm sorry. Maybe you got to comment more.
Andrew, Brian, there's so many people.
We're just, as soon as you start naming like one or two names, you're obligated to name too many. We'll be here all night.
I gotta now I feel like I gotta keep going, but thank you guys so much. Honestly, if you've watched us once, if you've watched us all throughout last season or even this season, we appreciate you guys so much. Hopefully you can join us for the playoffs, join us in our banter, join us in the fun that we have, join us in the therapy sessions we have after we lose games, whatever it is. We're going to be here throughout the playoffs and then into the off season as well. So thank you guys, genuinely from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for watching and enjoying the Raptors with us this regular season. And we hope to see you guys in the playoffs as well. Sung Jin Woo, the vibes are absolutely immaculate. You are correct. Everybody, let us know quickly before we end things off what you think is going to happen in this playoff series. What is your prediction? Oliver here says Raptors are sweeping the fraudulent 76ers. Andrew has a message for Kyle. Andrew has a message for Kyle. He says, Kyle, I forgive you for your Ken Birch takes. He's okay, I guess. Phoenix,
I got a soft spot in my heart for French Canadians. I don't know what to say. I was just trying to support them. They've been through a lot.
Thank you guys so much from myself, Kyle Brickman, Aiden Moss, Oren Weisfeld, all of the Raptors Republic people that have been on with us, from Manny to Samson to Lewis. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. This live show, like you guys know by now, was produced by none other than our man, Chris Howson-Jan. And tonight, unfortunately, your Raptors were defeated by the Knicks, but we head on to the playoffs, somewhere where the New York Knicks are not going. And we also, before I go, we also want to thank Can-Am Tax for sponsoring us the entire season. Thank you to VJ Verma as well. That was it for myself on the last regular season episode. Sahal, Abdi, Kyle Brickman. We'll see you guys all for the playoffs. Stay safe. Take care. And we love you guys. Peace.